It's in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. These words sum up the philosophy of Tony Robbins, who's been inspiring people to live their lives to the fullest and achieve their goals for 40 years. Although he rarely uses the word motivational to describe his methods, as his strategies are more than just words. They aren't only meant to hype you up or set unrealistic goals for you, but they're meant to show you a completely different perspective on life. And today we're here with the hard-hitting advice you need in order to change your life. Welcome back to Victorious Visions, and before we move on with the video, quickly press the subscribe button and ring the bell to get a notification for every upload. Tony shares a story from his childhood that had a huge impact on framing his mindset. He grew up in a very tough and impoverished environment and struggled to share the burdens of his family as the eldest sibling. One day, a stranger miraculously showed up at their door with a Thanksgiving meal as a gesture of goodwill, which taught him that the world is full of kind people who cared about strangers, and so he should do the same thing. Meanwhile, the stranger's kindness elicited a violent reaction from his father and ended up having a major impact on Tony's psyche. He believes that although every single decision, whether big or small, can shape your life, there are three major decisions that can change the trajectory of your entire lives. Keep watching till the end for some life-changing advice from Tony Robbins. The first major decision that you are making every waking moment is, what do I choose to focus on? Robbins credits this question with the whole reason that his life turned out to be so vastly different than that of his dad, and all because his father chose to focus on his own insecurities for being unable to provide for his family, while Tony chose to focus on the generosity of the stranger who wanted to share a meal with them. Stress is not just mental, but also manifests in physical ways. He insists that just by choosing not to focus on the stressors and by changing our language patterns, we can instantly feel a physical change in our energy level, which is actually sustainable and not just transient. The next question you will need to ask is, whatever I am focusing on, what does it mean? By urging you to focus on the meaning, Robbins is actually asking you to pick the most positive meaning to associate with that emotion, instead of choosing the worst interpretation like most people tend to do. Just like some people choose to rely on their faith and tackle problems like a challenge from God, and some believe that their God is punishing them, while others believe that adversities are like gifts from God. Then there are others who think that God has no hand in any of this, and it's the consequence of their own actions, and their reactions and methods of dealing with problems are just as different as their attitudes are, proving that the meaning we associate with an incident literally shapes our life in response to that incident. And the last decision you need to make is, what am I going to do? Tony's father left his family shortly after that incident, and it took him a long time to realize that the day he considered to be the worst one so far actually pushed him to become the man he is today. According to Tony, if you want to change your life, figure out how your worst day was your best day. The most significant thing you can decide today is to stay in a happy and a beautiful state of mind regardless of what happens. He defines this beautiful state as the absence of fear, the mindset where you acknowledge the pain but reject suffering. Because suffering is nothing but a form of self-obsession to the point where you keep dwelling on what you should have done and what could have gone differently, instead of thinking how you can give more, share more and create more. You can stop suffering by choosing to focus on something greater than yourself. This mindset advocates that it's never too late to start working towards your dream life. And here are 12 practical pieces of advice from Tony Robbins that will help you change your life. Number 1. Decide what you want. As Tony Robbins puts it, setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. Because let's face it, it's impossible to design your ideal dream life if you don't know what it looks like. So before you do anything else, set aside some time and figure out what a truly remarkable existence looks like for you. Creating a vision for the desired future gives a compass to direct you forward, indicating what to steer towards and what to steer away from. Number 2, know why you want it. Tony talks about knowing your big why behind the life that you've dreamt for yourself, because a clear sense of purpose will compel you into action and fuel your bravery to overcome any obstacle. So figure out why it's critical for you to pursue your vision for success and attain your objectives. And most importantly, find out what the consequences will be if you don't accomplish them. If this isn't meaningful enough, you won't stick with it when things go bad. Number 3, take action. It's simple to make excuses, yet inaction bears an increasing burden on our lives. Taking action is the most effective antidote to fear. Don't wait until you know everything before taking action. Rather, do something every single day. As Robbins has summarized it perfectly, if you talk about it, it's a dream. If you envision it, it's possible. If you schedule it, it's real. Number 4, reframe problems. See things as they are, but not worse than they are. Your problems are really just invitations to step through fear. This insightful remark from Tony Robbins highlights that, in fact, it's not your issues that prevent you from manifesting your goals. Rather, the real hurdle in your path are the excuses you provide for staying in your comfort zone. Number 5, tell stories that expand possibilities and discard beliefs that don't. You see the world not as it is, but as you are. As a result, the words you use to describe your current, past or future reality shape the reality you live. You can't undo your past, but you may rewrite your story and expand your horizons for the future. He says the past does not equal the future, and the multi-billion-dollar empire he owns today is just another testament to this. Number 6, flip fear into an ally. Rather than vilifying fear and seeing it as an enemy, we could harness its energy to use it to our own advantage. Fear can become your ally if you envision how you'll feel in the future, if you allow the fear that has undermined your actions so far to pilot your life. Stay tuned for more practical advice that will help you turn your life around. Number 7, adjust course as you go. As Tony Robbins says, stay committed to your decisions, but stay flexible in your approach. Successful people constantly evaluate their progress and alter their actions to achieve better results in reaction to the evolving circumstances around them. They also do not allow setbacks or failures to derail them. They learn their lessons, adjust their tactics, and carry on.
In people's lives, there's only maybe half dozen, 7, 8 categories that really matter. Most people, they major in minor things. They focus on stuff that doesn't matter. They know more about this celebrity going in and out of rehab than they do about their own personal development. But I look at and say, if you look at your body, without that, everything else is out the door. You don't want to be richest man in the graveyard. That's not going to do it. If there is energy, if there's vitality, if there's strength, it's going to show up in your relationship. It's going to show up in your business, show up in your life.
Number 8, create daily rituals for peak state. You are unstoppable when you're passionate, fearless, focused, purposeful, and fully determined. Tony Robbins uses the term peak state to refer to this mindset, where you work around difficulties and quickly bounce back from setbacks. So then, what you really need to figure out is, what would it take for you to be in your peak state every day? How could you begin your day more purposefully so that you can stay focused throughout the day? And remember, it's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives, but what we do consistently. Number 9, embrace uncertainty. Most individuals want to be in control of their life and to be able to make decisions based on the future they can confidently forecast. But life is intrinsically unreliable, and you can't control what happens around you. Accepting life's uncertainty frees you to be decisive in the face of ambiguity and quicker to adjust your sails as the wind changes. Number 10, schedule priorities. If you are not intentional in how you prioritize your time, other people's priorities will absorb you. So just make sure to schedule your important tasks, because assuming that you'll find time in the midst of your busy life is wishful thinking.
Everyone's going to measure themselves differently because everyone values things differently. Some people value success or significance. Some people value love more. Some value just basic levels of certainty. So when I look at the specific metrics, I really look at metrics of what are the things that need to be measured to know if your life is going to work or not. So I look at it as our whole lives are guided moment to moment by the state we're in. Learning how to change your state, not bullshit, not fake, but to go from pissed off, frustrated, freaked out to back in your center, or creative, or determined, or something that's going to move you forward. It's going to create a better quality of life for you and others. That's a critical skill set.
Number 11, find your A-team. Never underestimate the influence of your environment in propelling you forward or holding you back. According to Tony Robbins, your life is a direct reflection of the expectations of those around you. So if the people you're hanging out with aren't bringing out the best and the bravest in you, discover people who will. People who aren't content with mediocrity and want nothing less for you. Number 12, be grateful for everything. We often focus on what is missing and what we lack, rather than on all that we have, and this perpetuates scarcity, bitterness, self-pity, and sense of powerlessness. So keep your mind on alert, and when you find yourself obsessing on what's lacking, remind yourself that no matter how bad things appear to be, there's always something to be thankful for. That brings us to the end of this video. Remember that all it takes to change your life is deciding that the time has arrived to step up and do it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel Victorious Visions, and we'll be back with another video.